What's a piece of advice that founders typically get that you think is absolute bullshit?
I think most of it is bullshit, especially if it's coming from an investor or somebody who's never built a company. Quit my job on first day. So my corporate experience is 8 hours. I do not recommend anybody listening this to do that.
Tell us about first steps of actually creating a company. Tangible things that you actually had to do.
Do not have the false idea that you can start a company or be an entrepreneur because you read 5 business books. It doesn't work that way. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it. I started hating my own company. For the first time, Jedi, I actually made a resume. You got to find your own path.
He looked at me, he's like, just go and do something. Hey everyone, this is Jedidiah Weller, and I'm so excited today to introduce Dhairya Pujara from Y Center. He is the founder and CEO of Y Center, which is a global innovation agency that's worked with Fortune 500 companies all across the world, including North America, Asia, and Africa. D is actually an extraordinary individual, an extraordinary person, so much so that he was awarded the extraordinary visa status to the United States, and which has allowed him to do the work that he's doing and make the impact that he's making here in our country and across the world. Dhairya has been a speaker, a keynote speaker at major conferences and organizations across the world, including TEDx, the United Nations, Wharton, and Stanford, and World Bank. He is an advisory board member for the Harvard Business Review, and most importantly, a dear friend of mine. So in this conversation, D is going to share with you his wisdom and his story so that you can become a better founder. He's going to share the lessons that he's learned over the past decade of being a founder and running an international company. And he's going to share them with you in a way that has, no BS. It's all real advice and just real information that you can run with and that you can actually use for your business. So if you are a founder who is building or considering, should I build this product, this idea, this company, then this is a good episode for you to listen to. You'll definitely be able to learn from these stories and the wisdom that he can share. So thank you all for tuning in. This is Founders Who Build. We're on Founders Who Build, and the whole purpose of this series is to really educate as many founders as we can on how to actually build a company, how to build software, how to build a brand or product, right? And so I'd love to explore that with you and get as many pieces of information and as many tips and tricks as you can share today with the audience. But before we do that, if you wouldn't mind kind of just giving us a little bit about your background and giving us a little bit about your story with Y Center, that would be, I think, fantastic for the audience, kind of prep us and get us ready for this the big reveal.
Okay, let's start with the story. So I'm a biomedical engineer who got his degree in master's and all of that fancy education, got a corporate job, quit my job first day, 5:30 p.m. So my corporate experience is 8 hours. I do not recommend anybody listening this to do that. There is crazy and then there is insane. So one of this is that.
So wait, that was a single day?
One day of corporate experience. That's the only amount of real work experience I have. And after that, I take off to Mozambique, a small, little, beautiful coastal country along the coast of African continent on the southern side. So I end up there working as a biomedical engineer, doing public health technology work in a community where no one speaks English. They speak Portuguese there. And I am a trained engineer who knows how to fix some of the stuff I saw broken in that hospital. And when I wasn't able to do it, I'm like, damn, what's the point of all the fancy education that I have if I can't really do the job I'm supposed to do? And that's when I realized that we have these amazing universities around the world, people getting all these degrees, but there's a huge gap between what we learn in our classrooms and what's required in the world to solve the problems. And that's literally how and why Y Center was born.
Awesome. So you saw a problem, and it was a problem from your own personal experience, and you said, fuck it, I'm going to build this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to solve this problem.
Yeah. Essentially, that's the short version. Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So then tell us about, I guess, like the first steps of actually creating a company. Like what were like the tangible things that you actually had to do that and maybe that you weren't even expecting?
Yeah. You also asked something about, let's share how people can build businesses. I mean, that's the whole point of me being here, you being here, the other guests who are going to show up, so that more people can start companies. My first thing that I did, and I also tell everybody, is something that you should not do. That's what I did. I did something that nobody should be doing. One is, do not quit your job on day one, obviously. Get some experience. I think that helps. But do not have the false idea that you can start a company or be an entrepreneur because you read 5 business books. It doesn't work that way. Do not get on a journey because you read an amazing book or you read an autobiography of a very successful entrepreneur. That's good to get inspiration, but there is no way you can copy that. You'll actually fail miserably. I can guarantee you, if you follow even the most successful entrepreneur's story and if you try to emulate that, you're going to fail. So you got to find your own path. So those are the things you do not do.
That's I think a really good point. Actually, tangent. I recently just fell for that, and I'm embarrassed to say so. I was recommended a book and a book about a sales process. We tried implementing it exactly as it was, and I failed miserably.
You know why? One of my really smart mentors told me, if reading a book makes people smart, then just imagine if you bought a book from the store, anybody who buys that book from the store should be equally smart. That's clearly not true. So reading books does not equate to anything for that matter. Read it for what it's worth. Have fun, enjoy the book, and then make your own story. That's the whole point. That make your own story part is where people forget to do that. They're like, I read the bestseller, which tells how to make $1 million sales in 30 days, but it's not working for me. I mean, it's the same thing with exercise. I followed the person's schedule on YouTube that I need to be doing this for 30 days to lose fat. But what you're not seeing is this person, the way, how much water they're drinking, the kind of sleep they're getting, the kind of food they're putting in their mouth. So you can do everything on the YouTube and then just go and eat a pint of Ben and Jerry and everything is screwed. So
that's fair. All right. Yeah. So then you're starting this business and like, what do you got to do?
I have said this before and I would say it again. Find a really amazing set of mentors to begin with. Do not chase capital first. I have said this quote before and I'll say it again, but phone book is bigger than checkbook. You know, you will get to the checks, but if you have a solid phone book of people who you can rely on, you can call midnight. I know you called me like morning 8 a.m. on a weekend. That is bigger than any amount of investor money I can ever raise in my life. So I think to begin with, find that group of friends. And Jedi, I've told you, but I'm pretty sure you don't remember. You were the first person to put out $50 in my crowdfunding campaign when I was trying to start the company and raising money for my immigration. First person in the US, in the whole world, to be honest. I don't know. Do you remember?
I forgot about that. I do remember that. Yeah. Well, I didn't know I was the first one, but yeah, that's awesome. Well, now I feel honored.
Yeah. I'm here in a way because of you. Your first $50. So,
yeah, that's cool. And this works out. You know what? So you're going to be the first interview that we release. How's that?
That's crazy. That makes sense. I mean, yes.
Yeah, right? Perfect. We're going to make this an even trade.
Yes. Thank you. So that's the whole point, proving. Get a good set of friends, mentors to support you. They don't necessarily have to be Richard Branson, Steve Jobs kind of people. You need good people around you who can teach you a thing, who can support you. So that's the first thing. Second, please, and I cannot say please enough, know the problem you're solving. Fuck the solution. Like, I know you want to build that app that gets million users in 10 days. I know you want to build that web app, that mobile app, whatever. But please tell me what is the problem? What's wrong with the world and how the world is going to be better because of what you are building. If that is not clear, stop production right now. Like, stop writing any line of code, any business plan, stop chasing your investors and go back to the drawing board and define the problem with enough conviction that if you stand on a stage and talk about that problem, everybody's like, yeah, damn it, I face the same problem. You know, forget about the solution. People should buy the problem first before they buy the solution. Mm-hmm. So I think that's how you start, and that's how I started, 100%.
It's amazing how many founders don't listen to that advice, even though everyone says it, you know. It's amazing. Why is that, do you think? I don't know.
I know. I actually had been thinking about this because guess what? I think that's what I keep doing in my pastime when I'm not being an entrepreneur, not working on my startup. I'm thinking also about startups. Why people don't do something? Why do they do something? But I think we have the founders, and I didn't invent this, but the shiny object syndrome. And the shiny objects are the solutions, the sexy apps. There's a joy in creating. Entrepreneurs are creators. They love to build stuff. There's no doubt about it. I mean, founders who build. Come on, that's why you named this. But we have to remember, you build for a cause. You build for the why, and everybody wants to jump to. So the quote is, everybody wants to learn how to swim, but they don't want to get wet. Like that's what's going on. They want to build that amazing app without going through the pain of defining the problem, validating the problem. It's comfortable, it's fun. I can see intuitively why I will talk about solutions and not about problems. It's very common. In fact, that's why I have this guy on top of me right now. Like, there's a quote: if I have an hour to solve the problem, I'll spend 55 minutes understanding the problem. And by the way, I've been saying this all around in multiple podcasts and like articles, and then somebody told me he probably never said it, but who cares? It's fun. I agree.
I love that. All right. So let me ask you then, with Y Center, with your company, you've been working on it for a long time. In the beginning, did you consider it a product company, a services company? Like, what type of company is it?
Service company, straight up. Creating entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity programs to bridge that gap between classroom education and what the world needs in terms of problem solving. So purely service company. And in fact, right there is a big lesson. It was wildly unpopular when I was starting out to build a service company. It is wildly unpopular today also to build a service company because time is money. So I have to be awake to make money. And in product company, as it goes, you can sleep and still make money. So I'm very proud to say that Y Center now also has products which can make that kind of money. But again, the money part is byproduct. Like, I want to steer the conversation back. We also have products that solve the problem now. So sticking to the problem solving again, So yes, it's inherently a service company. And now we have some products to deliver our workshops, to deliver our consulting work to big companies. So now it's a good mix of both.
Okay, so I think then this interview is going to be fantastic for anyone who's looking to build a services company or to productize their services. So, what's that process look like of productizing a service?
First is putting your ego on the side and accepting that I can be productized, like me. Because in service, there's so much ego that, people are buying because of me. And that's true. Like, it's a relationship-driven business when you're in service business. People give you contracts, you get projects because they like you. They know you. And of course, they like your work as well. But it's a combination. The moment you bring product, it's okay to completely hate on Mark Zuckerberg and still use Instagram every single day. Right? Yeah. Like, that's the point. So you you still have to, as a founder, and if you're a founder-led company, your product company as well, you still have to make efforts to be nice or to appear to be nice. Your product takes a hit. We know famous people currently in 2025 whose products and companies have taken a hit because of their opinions. So Anyway, that's a no-brainer. But the process from moving to service to product would be that first step, not having that ego that I cannot be replaced by a product. It's not about replacement, it's about enhancement. So if you're a service entrepreneur, think of the product that enhances your qualitative aspects as a founder. What can that product do 10 times better than what you can do? And I keep thinking, if my customer has a problem and I'm sleeping and it's a service-oriented company and my employees are not available, a product should be there to solve that problem. So again, going back to the fact that please focus on the problem. Organically, you will see that you might need to productize. So I think that's the first step, understanding that the problem solving can be enhanced beyond me and my team. And that's when the product is born.
In terms of, a services company and productizing, are there any books that you would recommend that people do read to kind of like wrap their head around this?
My basic theory is, if you want to do something about business or you want to learn about project management, do not read the book on that topic. Read something else. So I would say if you want to learn about even building products, actually pick up a service book, because you will be 10x better in making a product, because you now understand relationship. You'll be better at customer acquisition strategy. Product is a lot about that. You can build world's greatest product and nobody knows about it, right? So there is still that storytelling. I would say read a book on storytelling. Pick up book. Again, doesn't matter about what people think about the guy, but pick up Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, who has his own fair share of controversies. Without getting into that, pick up one of his books and see how he built Disney over the years. Look at the story of Marvel, from Iron Man to Avengers. What did that multi-billion-dollar franchise look like? And I think there's a lot of learning in that storytelling aspect, which you can learn when you're building a product company, because product is also a manifestation of a story, and you will have to have that story to sell the product. So I would say read books on storytelling if you want to build a good product builder. Again, as I said, Bob Iger, Duncan Waddell, another chief creative officer from Disney, ex chief creative officer. I would read books on marketing by Seth Godin. I would read something on from Simon Sinek. And then I would read anything from Daniel Kahneman, the behavioral economics Nobel laureate. I am a big fan of his work, so completely biased. I would say pick up anything with his name on it, and you will learn so much. And probably in the beginning, when you read any of his book, the most popular one, Thinking Fast and Slow, you will actually get bored. You will even say, why am I reading this? Read it again. And you will find so much amazing stuff there for product and service building as well.
Okay, gotcha. And Seth Godin, he's a good one. I also personally like Gary Vee. He hasn't just books,
man,
but yeah, his marketing material. Whew.
Dude, Gary Vee is like the OG of marketing. But yeah. I mean, I have not read his books, but just open up LinkedIn or anything on social media and look up his video, and people can say he promotes hustle culture and everything. I'm like, damn, yeah, you're going to be hustling. You're going to not sleep at night. Like, that is the truth. I know maybe the new Gen Z says, oh no, we want our boundaries. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, fuck those boundaries. You are going to be working. If anybody says I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to not work 9 to 5. Yeah, that's accurate, but partially accurate, because you're going to be working 9 to 9.
Yep.
As an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
So Gary Vee, completely, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and one of the things I respect about him the most, and we're planning to do this with Founders Who Build series, it's just the content reuse that he does. He'll record a 1 hour session, and then his team will reproduce that 1 hour session for an entire year as shorts, as videos, as YouTube clips. It's truly amazing. So yeah, any founder that is out there, definitely take a look at all the people that he referenced, and and I think you made a good point, B, as well, about political. Look, at the end of the day, you might not agree with someone politically, but if they're a good business person, you can learn 100%. Something from them, right? Yeah. And so totally. So don't let that color your vision when it comes to which books you read.
Right,
personal recommendation, right? Okay, so you turned the services company, you productized it. When you were hiring your first employees, how did you manage that? How did you afford it? And what was that process like? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I sucked at it, because remember, I quit my job on first day. So I know nothing about what it means to hire people and build an organizational team and all of that. My hiring interviews were so bad. Like, it's so cringe. If I look back, I have recordings from my Zoom calls. Like, I think I made my first paid hire in 2016, where I had to conduct an interview. So yeah, like 9 years ago. I remember the person who I ended up hiring, she was polite. After 3 months, she told me, your questions were terrible. Like, I didn't even think you are a real company. Like, I don't know why you asked me those things, but I made my own decision to work with you, and I was so thankful she did. But yeah, my questions, I didn't have any ability to judge if this person is good or not, because I didn't know how to conduct an interview. I was more nervous than the person who came for the interview. I'm like, what am I going to do in this interview? What am I going to ask? So I think that was my hiring experience. But I said my first paid hire. I also had people who joined me initially who were not traditionally like employees. They came in as partners, founding employees, if I may. Not really a founder, but the company was founded and then somebody joined me and they're like, I don't need salary. We're going to figure it out together. When we make the money, I'll take my cut. You always get people, if you have a strong vision, you will find enough people to back you up, and I hope you all do put out that energy out there and people come to you. But I was using tools, which some of them end up using LinkedIn. I still use storytelling as a way to hire employees because it filters out a lot of people automatically. Like, oh, wait, this doesn't look like a traditional job posting. I'm like, good. If you're looking for a traditional job, then I'm not probably the right company. So my job postings are also funny. My offer letter to my employees also includes a story. And I remember I said my early employees, I would send out this offer letter with a paragraph of my story of how I started Y Center. And I forgot to add how much I'm going to pay them. So I get a reply. What is the salary? Like, you told me you're going to pay me this much, but it's not in the offer letter. Where do I sign? Like, what's this? What's this piece of bullshit like you send me? I mean, it's all good and emotional, but it's not going to pay for my bills. So yeah, like I learned. My first 5 employees taught me how to hire people, how to conduct interviews, how to have a vacation policy. What does it mean to have a team culture? Everything happens organically. No book reading, but yeah, a lot of blogs. You follow people online. It doesn't have to be famous people, but somebody you resonate with, and then you follow them. Oh yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that. So that's how it works. It's very organic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, I'm glad that they didn't turn around and sue you and be like, well, it didn't specify, but you promised me $1 million a year.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't happened. Right? No, now I write everything. This is how much you're going to be paid. These are the benefits or no benefits, whatever it is. But I write everything down now in my offer letter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, cool. So let's talk about your customers for a second, right? When you first started, who were the customers that you were trying to target, and did that evolve at all, throughout the years?
Yeah, that's a great question because you can do this business model canvas and put your customer segments and do all of that. But when you get out there, you will pivot. Everybody pivots, So yeah, my first set of customers, I go to universities and I'm selling to them. I have this whole narrative that university education is not enough and Y Center is here to fill the gap to help your students be the big problem solvers, change makers of this planet. But there's one problem with this whole narrative. The universities, if they buy my service, they have to agree that their education is shitty, right? Because I'm selling it to them. That's a big problem. So I learned that lesson early on. But then I learned that universities, I need to find the right person. I'm not selling it to a university. I'm selling it to a professor, an admin, a program director at a university who agrees with me that university's job is to provide the theoretical foundational knowledge and the students could benefit from a hands-on practical experience which Y Center can provide. So I realized when people say I'm B2B, nobody's B2B, by the way. Let me tell you that. Like, there is nothing B2B is fictional story. You are selling it to somebody at that business and that's your customer. So you can be saying I sell to large manufacturers. Yeah, but you sell it to somebody, a procurement officer, an IT head, HR officer, somebody. You're selling it to a human being on the other side. So there is that B2H at the B. Business to human at another business. So I think my customers are humans at universities. Let me say that. I also pivoted to directly going to students, but I realized students are broke and do not do that. Like, I have been a student, but that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. We stop thinking like real people. We are like, oh, I'm this big entrepreneur and everything. But I just thought when I was a student, I wouldn't pay for getting into an entrepreneurship program. If I want to be an entrepreneur, I will just do it. I'm not paying money to go and learn. But if my university has paid for a workshop, I can sign up for that. I can go for that. So yeah, my customers are universities, amazing people that I meet who agree with the fact that students need practical experience. And then my second set of customers are companies who also need the same workshop, innovation, problem solving for their C-level management, engineer, and all of that.
Yeah, and I will say that, like, challenger sale type of mentality, right? Yeah. Going into an organization, whatever it is, and challenging what they're doing often is a fantastic approach, even though it's scary to go to someone who you think is more experienced or, has been in the industry longer and say, hey, you're doing something wrong. I mean, if they are good at their job and they care about what they're doing, they'll probably listen, if you can prove it. Yeah. So
100%.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. So, you found your first customers, and when you were productizing, did you see that were those customers changing like when you productize, or was it the same customer base?
My theory was and is around this is that if you're building that product, it's enhancing the service. So go to the same customers. It's a good proof of concept. If they are not buying it, I can't imagine why somebody else would buy it, like completely new. The people who already are buying service from you. It's the same concept going back to what Simon Sinek would say. If people were comfortable buying laptops, computers from Apple, they were also comfortable buying music players, iPods back then. I'm sure young people listening to this have no idea what is a music player. But anyway.
It's we trust, right?
Yes, it's the trust is built. So my first product would go to the same set of people and similar set of people. So same customers and then similar audience will look like them in terms of user personas. So if I'm selling my service to this X kind of people at a university, at Fortune 500 companies, I would find similar audience in another companies that I've never done business with because they didn't want a service, but they might want a product. So yeah, that's the strategy and that's what we are doing.
In terms of like, I don't know, identifying a customer, what would you recommend to early stage founders who are just starting on how to kind of perfect and determine, am I talking to the right person?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of tools, obviously online you can use on LinkedIn automation, CRM automation, all of that. Like, please don't start with that. Go to events, virtual or live, doesn't matter, but go to events, meet people. Ideally, I feel your first set of customers are going to come through some referrals. Even if you're a product company, a pure product, the referral could come from LinkedIn. Of course, you're putting out a post there and somebody resharing and signing up. So I would say start with your social networks. Basic boring advice. Like, I don't think anybody else would would say otherwise. But if you're a startup entrepreneur, first set of customers are coming from your first, second degree network, not the third degree. And then you can use and invest in all these fancy tools, GPT automation, finding your audience, everything, because you don't know who is the right customer in the first few months. No, it doesn't matter the amount of research you've done. Any of that doesn't matter. You will have to go out there, have your first paying customers, and then you'll have enough persona to be able to scale it out. So that's how I have done it in last 12 years.
Okay, perfect. All right, so D, we're getting close to a half hour here, and nice. Obviously, people are, we have lower attention spans than we used to, and so yes. I want to give you a chance to kind of give some closing reflections. Maybe, one of them would be, if everything went right, what do you think that this company would look like in 10 years from now?
If everything went right, I would be on the Joe Rogan podcast, not here. Anyway, but I appreciate that you like the joke. But I love this. And the best part, I would be invited there and I'm like, no, I'm going to Jedi's podcast second time.
Damn right, man. But that's loyalty.
That's loyalty, 100%. But I had to make that joke. I had to. Anyway,
I'll change my question then. So, if let me think here. So, if nothing changes for you in the next 5 years, where do you think you're going to be in your current trajectory?
If nothing changes in the world or in my business?
And you're
okay.
Well,
if I keep doing what, okay. So if I keep doing what I'm doing, I don't do anything differently. I think I'm at a point where, thankfully, and I think that's a good sign, if I don't do anything differently, I'll be still making that money serving those people as I'm doing this year. They will not go away. Like the loyalty we spoke about, I think I have a good set of foundational value installed in this company, trust with my customer segment, that I'm not going to lose them. So that's going to happen in 5 years, if I don't do anything. But that's not what entrepreneurs do. We keep growing. We aim high. We never feel we are there. So same. In fact, Jedi, true story, I'm launching this new products. And I'm for the first time getting the same founder energy I had 12 years ago when I was starting Y Center. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I want to shit my pants. I want to cry. And I'm not sure if I'm going to make it. I'm feeling the imposter syndrome. All of it. All of the above. So, yeah, I think that is a good sign that I'm actually still doing something exciting. I'm still taking chances, and I'm trying to not be complacent and be comfortable in my current setup. I do want to change and grow and scale and reach more people with my work.
I can sense the energy. So can you tell us about this new product?
Yeah. So actually, here is a dirty little secret. This entire podcast is actually a very big advertisement for my product. Everything I said, learn how to define the problem. Do not jump on solutions is literally what my new product does. It teaches people how to think and how to build and not jump to conclusions, how to do it methodically, step by step. It teaches you how to think, essentially. So we are launching an AI-powered learning platform for people to learn complex problem solving, creativity, and storytelling. Those three aspects. You can learn those three things. Yeah. And today, this podcast is the first time I'm actually putting the web page out in public. I've never publicly put out the web page. So this is the launch of the product called Epic AI. So be epic. Epic AI. Like, we are asking people to stop being normal. Do not be moderate. Do not be normal. Be epic. Why to be normal when you can be epic? All right. That's the story.
I love it.
So yeah, Epic AI is AI-powered chatbot-based learning platform. You're just chatting. No professors to look at. No boring videos. You are listening to podcasts. You are doing interactive games like some tool sets, and you're actually talking to a chatbot every day for 3 to 5 minutes, and you're learning a new skill. That's literally what it is.
That's crazy. So no bullshit to the audience. I had no idea that this was coming today. So this is awesome. So Epic AI. Okay. So is this going to be through Y Center's site, or is it going to be like a separate? Okay. And
Epic AI by Y Center.
All right, so let's turn this advertisement for apparently advertisement. This is not a sponsored ad, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But let's turn this into a lesson for the founders. Why did you decide to put Epic AI on Y Center or under Y Center brand as opposed to its own brand?
That's a great question, Jedi. The choice was deliberately made for the same fact that we already have paying customers for our service, for our workshops. They already trust us. They like us. We want to bank upon that testimonial, the proof of impact. I've had 100 universities in 30 countries use Y Center workshops in last 12 years. I would be a fool to start a new brand. So I want to go back to those 100 universities in those 30 countries and tell them, you've already done business with me. You've seen my workshop, my programs in action. 15,000 people have benefited from it. Now I have a product, much cheaper, much leaner, and reaching more people. So I think that is why we decided to keep it under the same brand.
Gotcha. And that makes sense, right? Because if you separated it, then you'd have to rebuild that brand authority for this new brand. You maintain it. I mean, that is significant work. Branding is a big thing. Wow, that's cool. All right. So it's going to be live then by the time the podcast goes live, or what expectations should we set with the audience?
Let's drop the link in the description. Only for audience of founders who build, you can pre-sign up for an early access. So you'll get a special invite. We are doing invites only. We are not selling it right now. So the links are going to our university partners, but they will also be on Founders Who Build podcast, the only podcast in the world where you can get that link right now. So we'll put it in the description, and then people can sign up for early access.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, this is exciting. When was a time that you thought, like, you were positively sure the company was going to die?
Yeah. 2:30 p.m. today. No, I'm joking. But the peak of that feeling came a year before the pandemic, 2019. And that happened because I took the wrong kind of money in the company. I brought in an investor who had a vision for the company, and it was completely on the opposite spectrum of how I want Y Center to grow, to be. And I started hating my own company to the point where I think I was not intentionally doing anything bad, but I lost the motivation. And I knew that if I'm not motivated in my own company, this company is going to go. So I think that's when it came very close to, like, for the first time, Jedi, I actually made a resume and I was looking at job portals. I'm like, I should think about applying for jobs. So yeah, 2019.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, I know I've talked to a lot of founders who have been, in a similar situation. I mean, one thing that audience members, if you're an early stage founder, you haven't been through this before, one of the things that you should really understand is that all of us successful founders, we are experts at storytelling, experts at brand, and we always present the best image possible.
Yeah.
But that image is not always the reality. You can go out to a conference, speak, have the best energy in the world. You go home that night and you cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah, right. I'm going to do that tonight.
Because of the interview, right?
Yeah, how bad it's going. But anyway.
I love it. All right, another question for you. What's a piece of advice that founders typically get that you think is absolute bullshit? It's just nonsense.
Wow, that's a big one because I think most of it is bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, most of it is, especially if it's coming from an investor or somebody who's never built a company. And those are the people who give you the most advice, I think. People who have never built or shipped anything in their lives, they come and tell you, do this and do that. The backseat drivers. Yeah, so I tell you, listen to everybody, but you don't have to act upon any of that things. So I listen politely because maybe, they care about me, but I don't agree. I can't pick one because I think everything is bullshit. Most of the things I got in my early things, the only good advice that I would get is all non-business advice. It was about emotional management, how to navigate through when you're feeling terrible and you feel like giving up. And one of my mentors would come and help me go through that phase. And I think that helped. So whatever my mentors told me, that was the best piece of advice. But anything else, I went to a networking event. I heard a keynote speaker, do this 3 steps to raise $1 million in your first 3 years. Bullshit. 1 month to close sales, $1 million in sales. Bullshit. LinkedIn. You go on LinkedIn, 500 likes to a post that says, here's how I made $1 million in last 60 days. And I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm like, wow, love your generosity. So you are sitting on $1 million over last 60 days, but you chose to come to LinkedIn and write a shitty post about it. Like, I wouldn't do that. If I'm making $1 million in 2 months, I'm not going on LinkedIn. I'll be on a beach, not be on LinkedIn. Like, so you see my point. Yeah, I don't take any of this. In fact, to all the listeners, everything you heard in this podcast, fuck that. No, I'm kidding.
Amen. Ignore everything you just listened to, everything we just said, and just go do it. I mean, to be honest, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, I went up to a founder who I respected in the city, and I asked him, "Hey, like, what advice could you give me?" And he looked at me. He's like, "Just go fucking do something." And he walked away.
Wait, who was this? Because I might know this person. I was in Philadelphia too.
Really? Really?
I feel I've heard this in Philly with somebody else's mouth. Who was it?
It was the we call it the founder of Gucci, Rick.
Oh, Rick.
Rick. Yeah.
Yeah, Rick. I met Rick at an event. Okay, nice. Yeah. No, but I don't know him.
Who was it for you?
Mine knows somebody else. I'm not going to give the name.
Okay.
No. Right. Man, no, honestly, I don't remember, but I have got similar advice in Philadelphia. I was at a networking event and it was very early stage. And I asked, hey, like, do you have any tips for me? And he's like, just do it. Just go and do it. So yeah, I've heard that. And I think that is actually the most amazing piece of advice an entrepreneur can get. Just go and do it. I think take that advice. Nothing else comes even close to anything.
Yep, totally. All right, last question for you.
Yes.
What's the cheapest, scrappiest thing, the scrappiest hack that you did that actually paid off? You know, I'm talking like 99-cent hack to get $10,000 worth of value or something like that. You know, however you want to answer it.
I mean, the whole company is built on scraps, but I'm cheap. I'm very cheap. Scrappy. Yeah. So my theory,
right?
Yeah. Because I was a service entrepreneur, not a product entrepreneur. I didn't have this terminologies like burn rate and any of that. The burn rate is my energy and my time. That's what I burn the most, right? But everything was very scrappy from the beginning. And even when the money came in, we continued to stay scrappy. Like I wouldn't buy tools for everything. We will figure out the free version of every tool and we will use it until a certain point, like Zapier. Now I use all of these tools like, Chat GPT enterprise version, Perplexity Pro. But first, for the longest time, we will try to use the free credits and then we will upgrade ourselves. But to specifically, if I would reframe this question, the two tools I really swear by as an entrepreneur, one is my Mac. Like I just love that device. I'm not an Apple guy. I actually use an Android phone, but I think this is one of the best investments I've made in life. Because I can work from anywhere. I can get so much shit done. Like I love it. This is my office space. So I recommend having a good piece of tech, like one singular piece of tech that's highly reliable wherever you go. Because in the early stages of company, I didn't have even money to buy a Mac. My mentor gave me a Mac and it changed my life. I loved it. Now I'm a Mac user for life. And the second was buying the pro subscription for Canva, like maybe 8 years ago when it was just starting out, because I had no design skills and I didn't want to learn Adobe and Photoshop and any of that nonsense. So when Canva came, I just bought the version very early on and I spit out designs like people were asking me, who is your designer? I'm like, oh, there's this designer I hired in India and they do a great job. There is no designer. Now I can tell. It was me sitting on Canva doing everything. And it turned out pretty good, for our events and for our workshops and all the marketing we would do. So yeah, I think I love that tool.
Awesome, man. All right. So if people want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you, D?
I love this is the best ego massage. Google my name. I'm everywhere on the internet, easy to find. Connect with me on LinkedIn for more of this founder level stuff. If you want more human stuff, connect with me on Instagram. I would love to talk about movies, business, traveling the world. I've been to 35 countries and counting. So if you want to discuss any of that, let's talk. And again, thank you so much for having me here, Jedi. It was a pleasure being here.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a pleasure having you. And if you're listening on our podcast, then that's Dhairya Pujara. That is Dhairya Pujara. I get it right?
You got it right. And do you realize my name has AI into it? So...
All right, we're done. We are done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, D. We will see you all later. This is Founders Who Build.